So we've got two bits of footage that we've now captured, one called Untitled and one called Untitled 1. Now the first thing I'm going to do is just tidy up my browser by moving my two bits of footage by clicking one, holding the Shift key down, clicking the other one, so we've got them both highlighted, and dragging them into the footage folder. So if I click the little arrow next to the footage folder, that's how I can get access to those particular files. Now it's important now just to probably go back to the hard drive. If I go back to the Finder, if I go Apple Tab, it opens up, shows me all the programs I've got open at the moment. Apple Tab and go to Finder, and if I now go into my external hard drive, News Update, and go to this Capture Scratch folder, you'll notice that it gives the name of the project, a folder with the name of the project, and there's my two files. That's where they're actually located. That's where they actually exist. What you're seeing here on the browser is a link to those files. It's not actually the files there, it's a link. That's how Final Cut works, and it works quite well because it's not dealing with large files embedded inside the program. It's linking to large files that are located somewhere safe on the hard drive and just one copy of all those files. So it's quite a clever program in that sense. So now that we have got the footage, let's do a very simple edit. What I'm going to do is just double click my first one and take my marker, which is this little yellow triangle thing, and drag across, and you can see the footage. I've actually disconnected my camera now, so we should be able to hear the footage through the speakers on the computer. If I hit play, so you can hear it. Now I'm just looking for a reasonable part of the... So he's just about to start a new verse or a new phrase of the song. So that's probably a good entry point to the story. So that's the point I want to start the edit. So to do, what I can do now is I can click this button here, which is my mark in. I very rarely ever actually do that. What I tend to do is work with the keyboard, and the I button on the keyboard is your in mark, and the O button is your out mark. I for in, O for out. So if I click the I button, it's like clicking this button here. It becomes your in point. So when I click play, it'll play from that in point. Then I click O, so I want this particular edit to stop. Now, I'll just stop it there because the camera went a bit wide on me, so I'll just take it back a bit and I'll keep that going. One of the rules that we have when we're video editing is we try to make sure that there's no one edit goes for longer than about 7 seconds. You can keep the audio going longer, but the picture really should change after about 7 seconds. It's got a little bit to do with the fact that we start as humans to be disinterested in the story or the footage if there hasn't been a change after about 7 seconds. A little bit sad when you think about it, but that's just the way it works. Next time you're watching television or a news story on the news, see if they ever actually have any edit at all going for longer than 7 seconds. I think you'll be surprised to find that that's the rule that is followed. It's the convention that's followed by most networks around the world. So I'll just play this again. So I might just stop it there and put my O for my out point. I've got my in point and my out point now. If I want to play that entire edit, I can click on this button here, which is the play in to out button. Now that edit goes for exactly 2 seconds. No, that's not right. It goes for 5 seconds. Let's just play it again. Okay, this tells you how long. 5 seconds and 8 frames. There are 25 frames in every second, so that's 5 seconds and 8 frames. Now, I've got my in point and my out point, and now I need to click anywhere inside the viewer and drag it across to the canvas, and I've got a choice of inserting this bit of footage onto the timeline, overwriting it from something else that's there, replacing something that's there, fitting this in between a gap in the timeline, or superimposing it on top of something else. Generally we just go to insert, but I tell you what, I very rarely actually go to any of these buttons. I tend to go straight down to the timeline and just make sure that I'm at the start of the timeline. This is the beginning of my story at this stage, and my little arrow can go to the right or it can be going down. Get into the habit of keeping it going down, and therefore it won't replace anything that's there. It'll just insert nicely into place. And if I take my marker back to the start, and this time hit the play button on the canvas on the right hand side, and our movie is about to start. So there's our first edit, and that is a simple basic first edit with an in point, an out point, and a dragging onto the timeline.